y'all, it's Timidity. Let's talk. This is just like a little rant about the shit going on in my life because I'm tired and a little bit miserable, but nothing is inherently going bad per se, it's just going awkward. In fact, one second. Fuck it, let me have the little braids out because you already know how my hair looks. You've seen me in worse quality. I broke up with a guy recently, and it hurts my heart because I genuinely did have really intense feelings for him, but at the same time, I guess I'm just upset that it had to go the way it did. You know, I had a feeling that when I was at their house, it would be the very last time I'd ever see them. I had a feeling. I was just in the kitchen while they were like drunk and making us lunch or whatever, dinner or whatever it was. And I was thinking, I better take this in really nicely because I get the feeling this is going to be my last time like observing their windowsill. And also last time I left their house, it was us getting into a spat because they basically, let's just say we had sex that was not exactly the most consensual, and he likes to play dumb because it gets his way. But it's like if your partner keeps saying no, keeps saying no, keeps making it clear you're tired, and you keep putting your mouth on them, your hands on them, and then just like eventually make it so difficult for them to do anything but give in just because they want to see you nut. Like he tried to pull the ooh, next time just say no. And then I screamed at him because I did say no. A lot of times he just didn't respect it and kept trying. He already told me in the past that he wanted to not ever do that to me again. And we just felt like, ooh, it's been a few months since that happened and we've been over this hurdle and nothing more bad is going to come to us, you know? But alas, he fell back into the same pattern. And it was less severe than the other time, so I think he's especially mad because it's like, he probably is thinking, I didn't even do shit this time. But it's like, you know what? Sometimes leaving people for the shit they did in the past is entirely fine. I already said in the last video I made, my ex Morgan, he was mad at his ex Cleo for forgiving him for cheating on her and other bullshit behaviors just for like a little bit later she ended up breaking up with him without and I quote you, this nigga was like, she didn't even find out I cheated again, she just fucking took it back out of nowhere and dumped me, how dare she? And it's like, my brother in Christ, that's a right that she has as a person. Like, she forgave you for cheating, you went, all right, I got my girlfriend Cleo back, I'm gonna keep cheating on her in secret. And then she didn't need to find out that you were still cheating on her. She just decided, actually, you know what, I don't really like a man who's that disrespectful and gross, and I have trust issues about you, so I love you, but I'm letting you go. And he was hateful and mad at her about that, but he was in the fucking wrong. And that's what Jared does. If anything, I'm gonna say it because I don't think we're gonna get back together, and I'm not afraid to say it. I only got back with him to use him for money. And he doesn't even have money like that. But if you're wondering, it's like, okay, if I wanted food or a interesting time out of the house and he was willing to provide it, then sure, I could spend a little time with him, sure. It'd be nice. So I just kind of, how do I put this? It was a trade-off. And of course, men don't like it when you ask them, hey, would you rather I, like, date you for love, but then still deep down hate you for what you did? And, like, we have fights about it. Or would you rather I date you, internalize that, and secretly hate you, but everything seems fine on the surface? I asked him that. He did not. He was obviously pissed as fuck. But then again, he's stupid. So I gave it, like, a week and a half. And then I just did the usual trick I knew worked on him. And I was like, oh, you know what? I missed you so much. Here, let's have one little last meetup. And then, yeah, that's how I got him wrapped around my finger again. Oh, it's one of those moments where it's like, okay, this nigga's already manipulative. Let me, you know, if you can't beat him, join him. And so I joined the side of being manipulative, so that, because it's like, okay, he gets what he wants. He gets to have consistent sex and adoration and praise from a woman that he finds attractive and that he thinks he loves. And I get to have my laundry done. And I get to have fancy dinners that I don't get to pay for. And I get little things here or there. Pretty decent trade. He was entirely happy and thought that I actually was with him for love. But I hate to break it to you, I have a history of doing this with people, but only towards really, really bad people. And I'm extremely good at it. I could get a fucking award-winning Oscar for the shit I managed to pull off. Like, hell, I had this ex-boyfriend in high school. His name was Zachary Bond. He's a piece of shit. Sexual abuse, revenge porn, physical abuse, emotional manipulation, all that shit. Plus bullying en masse, on and off for years. And basically, if you're wondering, why didn't you leave him? Because we shared all the same classes and the teachers would make us sit next to each other. And so basically, if you're like, oh, Tamia, why did you have such bad grades during your last, like, few years of high school when you originally were getting straight A's? The answer is that piece of shit, that teacher and the other teachers who enabled the situation because they didn't want to actually bother to, because they just decided it's easier to manipulate this young girl into like being this guy's faux mommy, faux therapist, like just, and also occasional sex object. If it means that he stops swearing at us and cursing at us in the special ed classes and his grades go up. They didn't care that my grades went down. They, in fact, they only cared when I was starting to skip every single fucking class I had. And then they were like, oh no, Tamia, come back. Oh, how can we help you? We miss you. They did not give a fuck about me. I hate that even when I say shit like that, I just get instant flashbacks to how exactly I felt in high school. If Zachary Bond was erased off the planet, I would instantly go out and have the time of my life, drinking, dancing, fucking anybody I could, having the most hedonistic Great Gatsby party thrown. That's how much I would love to see that nigga die. If he were to fall into some train tracks and get hit by a fucking speeding BART train, I would have an orgasm on the spot. I would just take some of that little blood on a napkin home and keep it as a little memento. And just huff it whenever I was having a bad day to remind me that, hey, sometimes things work out. And I hate that I'm really not kidding. Like, that's someone who, if he killed himself, I would just celebrate. I don't know if I doubt he has by now, but whatever. Anyway, moving on. I remember right as I'll tell you this story just for some context. With me and Zachary Bond, he was a toxic piece of shit. But like clockwork, every summer, that's when my teacher at the time, Courtney Gamora, she would always be like, oh, Tamia, you should message Zach and say you forgive him and say that. She would also say that he didn't do anything wrong. You know someone's manipulative when they say, ooh, he didn't do anything wrong, but then they also coax you into asking, like, into forgiving them, but they didn't do anything wrong. You know, that's, I could go on that rant, but let me stay on topic. Anyway, let's just say with Zach, I hate saying his name in this video, but it's just for the sake of the topic. I remember specifically, it was the summer before senior year, and school had been out for a week or so. And like clockwork, as he did every fucking summer when he wanted to win me back and make promises about becoming better for me, I just thought, you know what, he's gonna be a piece of shit anyway, and I can't change him, but my mom's not gonna give me an allowance for the summer, and definitely not because my grades were shit. And she doesn't like me, and I want to spend time at the house, so let me go ahead and make it better. I got dolled up in the best way possible. Mascara, here, perfect lotions, layered scents. I wore this cute crop top with the right high-waisted jeans that fit well in the waist and the ass. I wore these cute little combat boots. I styled my hair in a way he had never seen it before. A nice, like, sexy silk press. I wore the perfect lip gloss, everything. I thought I need to look perfect head to toe for this plan to work. I need the matching iridescent jewelry as well. I need to just look and feel expensive like I'm a bitch that he's never had before. And I remember he asked, like, he was trying to talk to me and do his usual apology. I pretended like there was no issue in the world. I was like, huh, what do you mean? What are you sorry for? Hey, what's up, Zach? I acted like he was offended that we never had any issue whatsoever. He was taken back. He was like, hey, Tamia. I was like, yeah, what's up? What you doing? Any plans for the summer? He was like, no, not really. Just wanted to talk to you. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, I want to go to the movies this summer, too. I'm just waiting for the chance to go. I think he was like, oh, do you want to go with me? I was like, yeah, sure, yeah. And then I met him at AMC Theater, and let's just say I pre-planned everything in my head because, like I said, this had been happening for years. I had a long time to plan out this revenge. Let's just say if I wanted to that day, he would have bought me anything I wanted from Forever 21 and also a shit ton of Victoria's Secret. But I hate that at the time I didn't let him buy me Victoria's Secret just because I only took him into Victoria's Secret that day just because I wanted to make him blush and feel embarrassed because in my mind I was getting very happy at seeing him embarrassed. But in hindsight, I could have got some cute sparkle panties and some little push-up bras, you know, but whatever. It's okay. I learned my lesson semi-recently. It's a long story. We'll get to that. Anyway, let's just say the whole summer I had him invest in movie tickets to anywhere I wanted. I had him invest in any dinner I wanted, any lunch I wanted. Anywhere I wanted to go for food, he was always paying for it without a doubt. He had never done that before. But also, I gave him maybe 2% of, at 20% absolute fucking maximum. Like, that was on a good day. The amount of attention I gave him before. I wasn't, like, begging him to talk to me, begging him to see me. I was just, like, he would get, funny enough, I also had a game plan just in case I did somehow start getting Stockholm Syndrome ass feelings for him. I told him, if he fucking texts me, do not respond immediately. You need to listen to 7 to 8 songs on your bad bitch playlist. No skips, no anything. And then once that's done, you can think about texting him back. But if you're still too excited to do it, or you think that you're gonna have like, you're gonna get your heart broken if he doesn't text back right away or something, guess what? 8 more songs. So then that nigga would be like, why hasn't Tamia talked to me in like several hours? Whole time it's like I'm listening to 16 fucking songs in a row and forcing myself to have hobbies and life outside of him. Very funny. I also was going to like college early at the time. I was having a blast. And that nigga would be blowing up my phone endlessly on some, you don't care about me. You don't care about me. What's wrong with you? Hey, hey, hey. And he would be panicking his fucking ass off so goddamn hard. And then guess what? He tried to convince me that he loved me. But that was also the time where I did something fucked up. I cheated on him. One of two instances of me like consensually. And by consensually, I mean like that I knew that someone else had a partner or me having a partner and seeing someone else. I'll tell you about the story of me being a side chick one day, but that was just some weird little high school experience, and nothing happened aside from this redhead dude eating my pussy. Let me stay on topic, though. And as for Zach, I just was like, you know what, this nigga has tried to cheat on me in the past and failed, then got mad at me for dumping him. And then that's what kickstarted off like a whole year or two of his abusive behaviors. Because he tried to cheat on me and find a replacement and couldn't. And I just told him, hey, we can't date at the moment because I think you need to find out what you really want. But who knows, maybe if a few months pass or something, then maybe we could get back together. And then he proceeded to sabotage everything in my life out of a fit of rage because he wasn't able to have access to me. One may see it as a flex that men love me so much that they're willing to do insane behaviors, but it's not. It's like you would think that it's like, oh, I bet you feel so overjoyed and happy that these men go to such extents of like they start losing their minds over you. It does not feel good. It just makes me feel like they don't see me as a human because they don't. And I like to treat men as fucking people, but they don't really give themselves like the discipline or the grace or the kindness or anything. They kind of just treat everyone around them like shit, at least the ones in my area. And then they also don't treat themselves very well. And it's just like, anyway. So I'm just giving you that backstory. As you can imagine, that broke Zachary's heart to know that I was sexting some dude named Victor in Pacifica, as he was like spending all this money on me and investing me and thinking that he was in love with me. Not my fucking issue though. I still don't really feel bad about it to this day. It's like, yeah, I wanted him to suffer. And I got it. And it's so funny that I caused him so much pain and I only did like 1% of the shit he did to me. Anyway, this is context to me explaining the next section of this video. My recent ex, Jared. Now, I'll quickly say what happened with Jared that made me break up with him, like, this passing week. Like, I broke up with him on this Sunday, Saturday, Sunday or something. Our relationship ended because of many things. I thought maybe I should not date this dude who's, like, literally giving me inspiration for my antagonist in my script about sexual coercion and assault and manipulative fucked up relationships. Also, aside from that, like, it was the shit he did in the past and also the shit he did most recently that really set me off. Like, we had sex 8 times in a day and still the next morning you feel entitled to my body. Like, just, he was showing really bad red flag behavior and I wasn't trying to get back into that circus again. No thank you. Aside from that, sorry, one second. Jared also got fucking... We had a lot more bickering this weekend and a lot more shit that just made me realize we were not compatible. Like, our politics are way too different. Our lifestyles are way too different. And it's like, I'm sure someone could... I already knew that on the second date we had because I remember he was ranting to me about, like, being anti-mask for COVID. Or at the very least that he doesn't believe they work and how he doesn't trust the COVID vaccine. And, like... he also was in the military, army, whatever the fuck, I don't care. And I just thought to myself, oh, okay. And as I got to know him, it'd be some moments where I would think, we are so alike in so many ways, it's amazing. And then there would be other things where I'm like, we are worlds apart. And how did we even, like, why am I with this dude? Why am I with this dude? And it's like, deep down, I'll put it this way. He's the type of dude where he'll say something like, ooh, if I had a girl then every single guy in my family and in my friend group is going to come up to me and apologize. And also the type to say that, ooh, I think men who wear crop tops and nails are fucking pussy and unfeminine. And like, meanwhile, me, I'm like, I'm happy with whatever gender my child comes out. They will be treated the same, full of love and happiness regardless, and the freedom to dress and look how they want. And then on top of that, I'll just teach them self defense if they are in an area where they aren't given room to be who the fuck they want. Mm. And finally, something else happened. Oh, yeah. I also mentioned this in the other video. He full on was on these dating, like, he was on Facebook dating. And this man was swiping on bitches for as long as. And I even looked at the history. He had been doing that shit since like February. And it's like, oh, so you mean to tell me that like 2 weeks after Valentine's Day, you were swiping right on random women on Facebook dating? And that as early as like 3 weeks before, maybe even less, like 2 weeks before, you were swiping right on women? Like, and he tried to use the debate argument as like, ooh, well, those were when we were doing bad. That was when we were doing bad. And I just said, huh. I remember sitting in his bathroom with the screenshot I took of all the evidence because I wanted to make sure I didn't want him to gaslight me. If I didn't take those photos, I knew he would have. And I looked at the timestamps and I looked at all of our texts and our phone history by the date. And I saw it's like, oh, nope. We were on good terms when he was messaging this bitch calling her beautiful. Like, you mean to tell me that you were saying I was the most amazing girl in the world and you were happy to be seeing me that evening? And then, like, an hour before meeting up with me, you were texting another girl, ooh, gorgeous eyes. Hey, sexy, how are you doing? Disrespectful. That was when we were doing good. And I remember that was the specific day that I paraded him around our mutual friend group to show that we were back together, back and better on good fucking terms. Do you know how much that hurts? That hurt. And yeah, also we have a I call him my ex just since I don't know what else to call him. What else would I say? Situationship? Like faux relationship? Guy who's obsessed with me despite us not being an official monogamous couple. And the issue is not because he was looking for other people, it's that he was trying to shit on me for looking for other people while also not putting in any real effort with me and dwindling in his efforts and being more stingy and thoughtless and insensitive while also messaging other bitches. So it's like you can't be like, "Hey, Tamia, don't see anybody else. Don't see anybody else. Don't go on these dates with these men." But then he was also like, how do I put this? What do you mean that you want to go? That's what Morgan did. That's another factor to me in Morgan separating because I remember at some point I was only seeing Morgan and Morgan actually just suddenly did a shift in behavior from a sweet guy to just like obsessively grabbing me and holding me and not letting me go in the middle of fucking craft stores, just whispering, "Don't see anyone else, don't see anyone else, don't see anyone else, don't see anyone else, don't see anyone else," over and over and over as if he was fucking possessed, like a fucking weirdo. And I straight up told his ass, like, stop being weird. Stop doing that. I'm only seeing you and you know that. Really. But he was getting obsessive and paranoid and weird just to find out the nigga was projecting and he had actually been talking to a woman for weeks. So it's like, one, you could have been seeing the woman the whole time and just told me about it. That would have been fine. Two, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Because if you're seeing that bitch in secret and I'm not seeing anybody, like, you can't be pressuring me to see. Also, you can't pressure me to see only you. And then when I am only seeing you, make all of our time only about like, ooh, don't see anyone else. Who? Let me go through your phone. Who else are you seeing? Because it's like, one, nigga, I'm single. Two, you knew that's my right. Three, you're texting other bitches. Four, if you have all the evidence that I'm only seeing you, stop getting fucking paranoid. Like, really, I don't know how to explain it, but if I walked up to a guy who was not a rapist and said, "Don't rape anybody today. Don't rape anybody today. Did you rape anybody? Let me look through your phone." He would be rightfully creeped out by me and break up with me. And then I couldn't use the excuse of, see, I knew he had urges to rape all along. Because it's like, no, I would be the weirdo in that situation. I know that's a bit of a weird metaphor I'm using, but you kind of get what I mean, right? Why are you... It's just like 5 levels of like mental R-wordation. I don't want to say the R word because it's YouTube, but you know, like, it's just, how are you so fucking stupid? It's like a 9-layer cake of different levels of idiocy that can exist in a man. Like, really, what the fuck gets on my goddamn nerves? Like, sir, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you want to go ahead and take a gander at all the other women that you could be having, you could just be respectful enough to tell me that you're doing so, and not have it be a secret, because that would have been fine. And then you can't be mad at me for doing the same shit. And that just, I've talked enough about it. Morgan's fucking stupid, though. I already know that. It's just the audacity. So you can imagine my irritation at him also, like, it's like hiding the fact that he's doing it, but also claiming that he only did it during times where we were bad. Because I looked at our fucking texts, and it's like, no, you were texting other women when we were good in February, when we were good in April, when we were good in May. And those were days where I was like smiling with you in photos, taking cute selfies. You were trying to say other women had gorgeous eyes. That, and paired with him becoming increasingly stingy and shit, I was like, this is not for me. There's better things I could be doing. Just no. Also, some funny highlight was that, like, even after the big reveal that he was doing that, this nigga went through my phone and was looking at my Bumble. He actually was insisting, because we actually had a moment where I almost forgave him over it. But at some point, he was like, ooh, you know what, let's look at your Bumble matches together, acting like he was cool with it. But then he did several things that was stupid. If he saw someone that was too good on my phone, he would actually do this and try to like swipe left on a whole bunch of people so that then I wouldn't be able to talk to people who were better than him. Mind you, this is a nigga who was making excuses for not taking me out on dates for a while and for being fucking lazy. So it's like, his excuse for that was trying to say, "Oh, you want to date every day." And I thought to myself, no, the fuck I don't. If anything, I had been at his house for several days. The only thing I asked of him was to go for a fucking walk and a stroll with me, and he couldn't even do that. Fat ass. Sorry, nothing's wrong with being fat. I should say lazy ass, because him being fat was not the issue. I knew he was fat when I met him, and I'm sexually attracted to his body. He's an awful person, though. And here he is. I remember he was so mad because this one guy was like, "Ooh, how about I take you on a date to this restaurant?" And he listed this extremely expensive high-end restaurant. And I was like, "Oh my god, and I said out loud, like, "Oh my god, that sounds amazing. I haven't been to that restaurant since I was 18. I loved it so much. I would love to go there again." And this man, I shit you not, Jared and me were wrestling for my phone at that point because I managed to swipe right, but he wanted to sabotage it. So when the guy was messaging me like, "Hey, do you want to go to Gary Danko sometime this week?" I was about to. I wasn't even going to respond, but then Jared tried to take my phone and type no. And at first I thought he was kidding, so we were wrestling for it. But then that nigga was dead fucking serious. And then next thing you know, like, he typed in no with a whole bunch of like crunched up letters, and then he typed in no for real. And I shit you not, the amount of rage I felt was palpable enough that I just simply went, "Give me that fucking," and then he saw in my eyes the little crazy bitch look, and he was like, "Okay, shit." And I had to text that guy, "Sorry, my cat messed with my phone, oops." That got on my fucking nerves so bad. It's like, why are you trying to stop me from a hot girl summer where I can have like nice luxury dinners and helicopter rides and fun experiences and film festivals and network to get my career ahead? Meanwhile, you are like the only thing you can, like, I remember I even, because it's like, oh, okay, so at Walgreens I had a purchase that was $2 and he wanted to pay for his own shit and not mine. Interesting. Then at CVS there was a purchase that was literally like 99 cents. He didn't want to pay for that either, so it's like, oh, okay. There actually, no, it was like $4 at CVS. Luckily I had a code so it lessened it down, but even then it's like, oh, okay, this nigga is so stingy. So fucking stingy. Like the type of guy where he's gonna order Domino's and then just goes, I'm not gonna get the wings for $5. Fuck that. Unless she pays me. And it's like, you're 32 and you're fat and you're not that cute and you're actually like, come on now. So I think he just also, like, there's layers to why I had to leave this dude, because I just thought, like, he could be fun in some ways but miserable in others. And deep down I just thought, I want to give myself the freedom to not have to put out in bed just because some big fat nigga wants to keep fucking touching me and coercing me and borderline forcing me. Like, I would like to have the right to have access to my body, and of course if the sex is consensual, I would like it to be good. I would like to not just full on like damn near be tempted to reach for my phone during sex because this nigga is straight up just like missionary jackhammering away. And like, really, like, it's just, he had a big dick and all, but everything else was just like, okay, I'm just staring up at him What do? He's not sucking my neck, he's not kissing my ear, he's sucking my tit. He's not doing anything that could make this really pleasurable. But I mean, it's a dick, I guess. You know, like, that's not me as a person, because I've always historically been the type of person where it's like, hey, you're doing that wrong. Hey, suck the clit. Slurp the lips. There we go. You're doing great. Ooh, here's my sensitive spots. Oh, here's ways we could improve. Here's some positions that worked. I don't know. So let's just say he was too big of a disappointment this time. The only thing I actually miss is his kid. And it's so funny because I remember the last two hangouts I had with him, I thought to myself, please tell me he's not gonna bring his kid, and then he brought his kid. And I deep down thought, that's annoying, but oh well, I already have some jewelry that I want to give to her anyway, because she's a sweet kid. She didn't like that me and her dad were dating, because she was worried that I was gonna, I don't know, take away his attention from her, or make him, I don't know. Plus she misses her mom. His mom and sorry, her mom and him never dated to my knowledge, like as she was alive though. So I think it's just one of those little parent trap Disney style dreams where it's like the loss of potential to be like, ooh, I can get my mom and dad back together or something, you know. mm. She was a sweet kid. She did like me a lot before she learned I was fucking her dad. Anyway, this weekend she did a lot. Some things were get bad with her, but she was especially still good in some other ways. She was still sweet, thoughtful, like a nice kid at heart. Just kind of still struggled with the transitionary period of her dad being with someone new, and like seeing his dad like kiss some, like seeing her dad be affectionate with someone else that wasn't her, basically, because it's just been like her and him for like years, basically. I get it. I will say this though, it was a little amusing, but also very inconvenient that, like, she and him were already having a bit of a spat that morning. I remember it was a little funny, because the morning was going pretty well, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get in the shower real quick. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll bring you your towel. And then I got in the shower, and by the time I came out, I was just standing there freezing cold, shivering, covered in droplets, and I was like, he never came out with my towel, and I can't walk out naked. What's going on? And then I just hear yelling, 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 and it's like, oh, I see. So him and his kid are arguing about like this again because she wants to control his dating life and love life. Because she wants to control his dating and love life, and I want to be like happy, you know. So that's what happened. Huh, someone just called me a second ago. I might have to wrap up the live in a bit. Yeah. Anyway, so she seemed like she wanted to. Oh, anyway, let's just say they were bickering. I awkwardly, like, thankfully they were not in the living room, so I could just rush out, put on a towel, and get dressed real quick. But then right as they were finally like slowing, like the conversation was ramping down and going well, I was just taking selfies on Jared's phone, and I got a little nosy. I guess I was like, yeah, is there anything that I don't know? And I had a feeling I should look, and then I looked and I fucked around and found out. And I remember that as soon as his conversation with his daughter ended and he was thinking, I put out that fire, I just politely walk in as soon as, like, they have that. And I go, hey, Jared, can I go home? And he's like, sure. And then I say, thank you. And I just hand him his very open phone that for Facebook dating that shows he's been telling other women all this and that. And yeah, very amusing, very amusing.